If somebody like me goes out and says, well, I'm going to have a big impact on the system, I think that's a tall claim. But what impact one could have is on the people who work in that system. I mean, that's the maximum of what we do. That how can we impact the person who's going to manage the system, or who's going to redesign the system, or who's going to somehow impact the system, right? But if you think about a system, that system is so entrenched, particularly if you think of the government or any other system. The systems are created over years and years of practice and otherwise. So they are so entrenched. Now, who can change that system? So you can create change makers. You can inspire people. You can work on their attitude. You can give them that aha experience that shocks them and makes them realize, that, a little something that I do can have a major impact. I remember in my earlier days when I would do gender training, because, back in 20 years ago, this was like a taboo word. Gender, oh, they are sending me to a gender training, And when they would come to the training, they would say, oh God, I'm going to come across this feminist type, And then suddenly I would say that, no, it's nothing about that, It's basically, how to make the system more inclusive. So sometimes I would come across people who were very rigid when they came in, but when they walked out, I would remind them that don't think about your wife, don't think about your daughter, but think about your Nawasi, think about your granddaughter, and you won't feel so bad about bringing that change, right? So somehow you have to impact the attitude of the people who come to your training and inspire them enough that go back and make that one or two changes, and see how it impacts. So I have come across these, I remember we worked on a forestry project once, so gender mainstreaming in the forestry department. And there were all these forest conservators, and they are a little macho, but some of them, they are lifelong friends now, because the kinds of things that we talked about, the practical steps that they could take to make a difference, was something that they were quite happy to do, but it had never struck them that it can make that kind of impact. तो जब आप सिस्टम की बात करते हैं, तो मैं समझती हूँ कि अगर सिस्टम में 2 या 3 चैंपियंस मिल जाए ना, जो सिस्टम को थोड़ा भी चेंज कर सके अंदर बैठ के, तो शायद सिस्टम में चेंज आए. बट आई थिंक इट्स अ टॉल क्लेम. सिस्टम्स को चेंज करने में तो बहुत साल लग जाएंगे.